Husbands say, I can't believe that's my wife. She looks like a glamour. He should have been saying that before. She looks like a glamour queen. Go through this extreme makeover, and that's what happens on the outside. But the question is today, do we go through an extreme makeover on the inside? How much emphasis do we put on or express on making over our character, making over our personality, and making over our Christian walk in our lives? We spend a whole lot of money on the outside, but we rarely pay attention to the need for the internal makeover. We hide behind this external stuff, the suits and the designer dresses and the nice haircuts and the nice hairdo. We hide behind these external things and make excuses for our internal imperfections that really need changing. You know, we make excuses like, this is just the way that I am. Been this way all my life. I've been ornery and argumentative all my life. I don't see a need to change. Been gossiping and talking about folk all my life. I don't need to. So we hide behind these external things to not deal with what's really going on the inside. This is what everybody else is doing. I'm just going to join the crowd and the culture. I don't need to change. We don't see the need for an internal extreme makeover. And in our text this morning, we see a man named Saul. See a Jewish Pharisee that from an external perspective, he was all right. From the external perspective, he didn't need a makeover. He was well educated, well trained under the great Gamaliel, the teacher of the day. He was well respected in Jewish circles, and he was well commended, and his intentions to follow God and upholding the law were genuine. However, he had one huge internal flaw. This internal flaw is that he developed a deep hatred for these new established Christians in Jewish territory. Even though he was a religious man, and even though he worked hard to uphold the Jewish law, Saul still had hatred in his heart and contempt in his heart for these new Christians. So he was passionate about what he believed, but he had no compassion for these new Christians. See, it's important here to know that sometimes in church we get so passionate about things that we have no compassion. Get so passionate about the way we think things ought to go, and we fail to have compassion toward others. We're passionate about the kind of music we ought to sing. Passionate about our specific style of worship. Passionate about the color of the carpet, what it ought to be. Passionate about what the deacons and the church officers and the pastors ought to be doing. But we don't have any compassion for people that are hungry, that need clothing, and that are naked. We don't get our way. Things seem to be moving fine and prospering. Hate moves us to act. It's important here to know that Saul had hated the Christians so much that he now had to start acting upon what was already in his heart. We talked about this last Sunday. That's why it's you have to watch it. Once hatred enters into your heart and that hatred starts to blossom, and eventually that hatred is going to cause you to act. Going to cause you to do something or say something or write a letter or make a telephone call. It won't allow you just to sit. It causes you to move. This hate had become so much a part of Saul's life that he had to act. And what did he do? I'm glad you asked. The first thing he did was Saul began to bully the believers. It's in verses 1 and 2. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went into the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus, to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, that's Christians, that's what they called them earlier, people of the way, whether they were men or women, he didn't care, he might bring them bound into Jerusalem in shackles. Saul became a bully. Because of his internal flaw of hatred, he became a bully against believers. And today we look around and all we seem to see is these people that bully folk. Job bullies. Talk to you any kind of way. Bosses that treat you any kind of way and dare you to talk back to them. Because if you do, if you stand up for what you believe, then you're going to be fired. They bully you. We have these political bullies. They try to bully people thinking that extending unemployment benefits to the unemployed and providing an adequate means of health care and fair housing for those in need. They don't think that that's important, so they try to bully other folk against what they think. We have these church bullies. They try to loud talk you and gossip against people in order to get their way. Say these little mean and evil things. Try to bully you to get their way. I don't know about you, but nobody really likes a bully. And in school, everybody wanted to beat the bully up. They may not have been able to, but they wanted the bully to fall. And if you were a bully, there was one thing that always happened. No matter how big and how bad you were and how tough you are, there was always somebody bigger. Always somebody badder, somebody that's more crazy than you are. Nobody likes a bully. So because of his internal flaw, he started bullying these believers. And the Lord saw this. And because he began to bully these believers, this is the next point, Saul was blinded by the light of Jesus Christ. Verses 3 through 5, as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined a light about him, light from heaven. He fell to earth and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? The Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. Light has this distinctive characteristic of exposing that which is in the dark. If you want to see what's in the dark, shine the light on it. And when you shine the light on it, you see these things that you never saw before. You see these cracks and crevices in the building in your house that you never see until you shine the light on it. And for some strange reason, we like the darkness. I don't know what it is about us, but we are attracted to the darkness, the nighttime. Watch out, preacher. Maybe it's because we can't really be seen that much in the darkness. We have these nighttime attire and nighttime beverages and nighttime attitudes and darkness thoughts. Sometimes you think it's almost like the vampires. You know, when you shine the light on them, they start running. They got to cover